Hey guys, so today I built this rack for my Nintendo Power magazine so I can display them. So I do still plan on doing that room tour, but it's not quite finished yet, so be patient with that one. That's coming soon. Now, before I get into the main topic of this video, I just want to talk about a couple of things from my last video and make a few corrections. So last time I mentioned this particular pick of the day and how I was thinking it might be for Puyo Puyo, and it could have actually been a reference to Fire Emblem Three Houses, as it is, three different colors, sort of the blue, red, and yellow. But I said that it was the party ball being the yellow. It's actually Pac-Man. I knew that. I don't know why I said party ball in the moment, but anyway, it's actually Pac-Man. Also, last video I said how Sakurai, in the thumbnail for the Byleth presentation, may have been hinting at Three Houses with the three fingers. I am completely aware of the binary thing. I did watch the direct, but I just said that three fingers could have meant three houses, like 3 and 3. But I'm aware it is binary for 17, and Three Houses is the 17th entry in the Fire Emblem series. And then finally, there was this one part of my last video where the image actually didn't show up. This has a lot to do with just because I've moved and I actually don't have internet right now here. So what I'm doing is I'm filming here and then I'm going elsewhere to upload and edit and stuff like that. So yeah, there might be a couple of issues along the way. I was probably a little careless with the last video on that one. The image was just an image of the Cuphead Mii costume. So that's all it was, but that one didn't load. So sorry about that, guys. Speaking of that Cuphead-style Mii costume, last time I was talking about how someone told me the night before the Byleth Direct that something in it might lower morale for Geno, and that something was the Cuphead Sand-style Mii costume, because it meant that we'd be getting more Mii costumes in this style, and that could very well be why the Geno Mii costume hasn't returned. Maybe the Geno Mii costume is just being upgraded, and Geno won't actually be a playable fighter, but just a upgraded Mii costume. I just want to be perfectly clear, this does not mean that Geno will be an upgraded Mii costume. I still have hope for Geno to be a full-fledged playable character. It's just a possibility, and I was just speculating on it, but this was by no means any sort of leak that Geno was just going to be one of those Mii costumes. That was just all speculation, everything like that, both on my part and the person who was saying that the Cuphead-style Mii costume would hurt morale for Geno becoming a playable character. It's just all speculation, guys, so Geno has just as much of a chance as he ever did to become a full-fledged playable character, and I'm still rooting for that. Also, last time I was talking about how Fire Emblem Three Houses did not get a Spirit event when that game was released, whereas many other new Nintendo titles did get Spirit events, and how that was sort of a hint that we were going to get a Fire Emblem Three Houses character as a playable fighter in Smash. LV1 Genesis wrote me, I think the fact that Three Houses didn't get Spirits the same summer Fighter Pass 2 was rumored to be confirmed adds evidence to Porky. The Spirit event that could have easily added him was in that same summer, and honestly it doesn't add up why he isn't represented as a Spirit or a boss. I wrote, good point. So this has been something that's been speculated about for a long time now. When Smash first came out, a few characters were missing spirits, characters that seemed like they should have them. Sylix was one of them, and one of the big ones was Porky from the Mother series. Porky is a major antagonist to both Ness and Lucas, and also was a boss in Smash specifically, and all of the old bosses from the old Smash games have spirits in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, except for Porky. It's very strange Porky has been omitted from Smash almost entirely. It kind of seems like he should show up at some point. And honestly, we also had a Earthbound Mother Spirit event over the summer, and we did not get Porky back in that either. So it's really strange they keep passing over Porky. Considering that they passed over Three Houses getting a Spirit event, and we did eventually get Byleth, this may actually be indicating something. Whether or not this means we'll get a playable Porky in the future as part of Fighter Pass 2, or if this just means that we'll get some other Spirit event for Earthbound Mother series, possibly some sort of Earthbound remake or something in the works, and they're saving Porky for that. I don't know for sure, but I do think we'll get that Porky Spirit eventually here, and its absence is even more suspicious ever since Byleth showing up and Three Houses didn't have a Spirit event. It just seems like missing spirits is really something to focus on. Sylix as well is a really strange omission, especially because Sylix is supposed to have a major role in Metroid Prime 4. However, Metroid Prime 4 could just get a Spirit event and have Sylix show up that way, so personally that's what I'm thinking is going to happen with Sylix. Over on Twitter, @ZenoDudeface wrote me, after every major update they add the special event spirits to the spirit board as normal spirits, and I was eagerly looking forward to claiming my 4 missing Pokemon Sword and Shield spirits. And then I looked at the patch notes for 7.0.0. They added the spirits from every special event except the Sword and Shield ones to the spirit board, even Resident Evil. Could this be a hint towards a new Pokemon rep, like Urshifu or a starter or something? This might be a bit stretching, but I feel like if they kept the Sword and Shield spirits as an event only until the new Pokemon drops, that would make sense. Again, I think anything strange happening with spirits is worth focusing on here, ever since not getting the Three Houses Spirit event, so this strange thing happening with the Pokemon Sword and Shield spirits is probably worth noting. A Gen 8 Pokemon rep as part of the second Fighters Pass is something a lot of people are speculating about anyway, so yeah, this could be pointing to that, or it could just be pointing to potentially getting another spirit event when, say, the Pokemon DLC happens. I don't know, but again, I think it's worth noting. Also in my last video, I was talking a bit about Ryu Hayabusa, and IGN wrote this: Team Ninja knows fans want a new Ninja Gaiden, and they hope to deliver some good news on that front in the future. There was also that 5chan leak that said Ryu Hayabusa might have been pushed back to the second Fighters Pass, and this 5chan leak did guess that our final rep would be a first-party Nintendo character. Supposedly, Byleth was switched with Ryu Hayabusa, and Ryu Hayabusa is now part of the second Fighters Pass. This potential leak also mentioned that Koei Tecmo is working on something Ninja Gaiden, so this could actually line up with this leak. 5chan is basically the Japanese equivalent of 4chan, so this is basically a 4chan leak, and again, the only thing it really guessed at so far is that the final character would be a first-party Nintendo character, so take this one with a grain of salt. Regardless of Ryu Hayabusa getting in Smash or not, I am a fan of the Ninja Gaiden series. Specifically, I'm a fan of the old-school NES Ninja Gaiden, so if we got something more old-school Ninja Gaiden, I'd be really happy about that. And now for the main thing I want to talk about in this video, basically the thing everyone's talking about, how Imran Khan may have deconfirmed Sora for Super Smash Bros. Here's one of many articles about it. It says, Imran Khan, Nintendo wanted Sora in Smash Bros. And Disney vetoed it. It says, on the latest episode of Kinda Funny Gamescast, journalist and host Imran Khan casually dropped a bomb. He says Nintendo did indeed target Sora from Kingdom Hearts for Super Smash Bros., presumably Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, and at some point Nintendo absolutely approached Disney about it once, said Khan, but Disney Japan specifically got in the way of making this collaboration a reality. Over on my Discord, Chrono wrote, at roughly 28:10 onwards, a conversation is struck about Sora's chances for Smash. When somebody states that they believe talks happened for Master Chief and for Sora, Imran Khan, a credible insider, comments that Nintendo definitely approached for Sora, and he later comments, when asked what he thinks, that Sora was turned down by Disney of Japan. It's unclear when these talks took place, and it's unclear whether this was speculatory or an actual info drop, but of course, how it affects Sora's chances would depend on which ends up to be the case. Imran Khan used to be the senior editor of Game Informer and would definitely have the sort of connections that would know about Nintendo approaching Disney for Sora for Smash. So on the surface level, this seems like a pretty big hit against Sora's chances for getting into Smash. This is very similar to what happened with Doomguy recently, when Bethesda basically said that they had never been approached by Nintendo to get Doomguy into Smash, or at least negotiations had never led anywhere. As far as that Doomguy interview is concerned, I still think Doomguy has a decent shot of getting into Smash. That might have just been deflecting. Again, we've had people like Grant Kirkhope say that you shouldn't hold your breath for Banjo at E3, and of course we did get Banjo at E3. So people can just straight up lie. However, Imran Khan here is not someone who's actually from, say, Disney or Nintendo. They're just someone who would have that sort of information, so they don't have any reason to, like, deflect or say something that isn't true. However, there's a couple of really important things to keep in mind here. Number one, they were speculating about characters. Number two, Imran Khan said that he still thinks Master Chief and Sora could get into Smash. They were talking about Master Chief, they were talking about Sora, they were talking about how they think that Fighter Pass 2 will have at least one big character like that in it, and Imran Khan basically said that Nintendo had tried to get Sora, but Disney of Japan said no. It's not clear if he was just speculating that that happened, or if that was something that actually concrete actually happened. Personally, it sounded to me like it was something that actually happened. However, even if it did happen, that could have been like Nintendo approached them for Smash 4, Nintendo approached them back during Brawl or something. Who knows when that actually happened? So it might not have anything to do with what's happening right now for getting characters. Also, in the end of the speculation, Imran is basically saying that he still thinks Master Chief and Sora both have a decent shot to get into Fighters Pass. So yeah, if he was saying that Nintendo tried once before and actually got shot down, and that was something that actually definitely happened, he's not saying that that is the end of Sora's chances to get into Smash. In fact, he's saying the exact opposite, that he still thinks Sora or Master Chief both have a shot to get into this Fighters Pass. Over on Twitter, Push Dustin wrote, for the Sora rumors, as far as I understand it, Imran Khan appeared on Kinda Funny Podcast and mentioned that Nintendo approached Disney about using Sora in Smash Ultimate once. Disney Japan apparently vetoed it, but Imran did not completely rule Sora out for the future. HMK, who is an avid supporter of Sora getting into Smash, wrote, LMAO. To everyone spreading the Sora deconfirmation story as fact, did you actually go and listen to the podcast they are using for a reference? They are speculating, and most of them, including Khan, believe Sora still has a chance. Guys, really. Over on Twitter, at JPoffers wrote, I think I need to make this clear about the Sora thing now that big people like Elfarad are retweeting it. Number one, there's no information on when this interaction between Nintendo and Disney happened. For all we know, this is referring to pre-Fighter Pass 1. Number two, Disney Japan oddly enough contradicts this considering HMK's interview with them. HMK once actually talked to Disney about specifically whether or not they'd allow Sora to get into Smash, and they basically said they would. So while this is something to keep in mind when speculating Sora, and this is definitely a hit, nothing is established and people are running on assumptions. So I essentially agree with all that. I'm basically in the same camp I am about that Doom Guy interview, where it's definitely a hit against the character, but I think by no means does this knock the character out of the running. I will, however, say that I have always thought Sora actually has a pretty big uphill battle to get into Smash, and one of the biggest things is that they're owned by Disney. Not that Disney and Nintendo can't collaborate, they have before in the past for things like Wreck-It Ralph. However, I do think it's a major obstacle for Sora. And even if Disney had at one time told HMK they'd be cool with Sora getting into Smash, the actual negotiations for that might be a lot more difficult than people realize. Saying you'd be cool with getting a character in Smash is one thing, but actually sitting down and negotiating for it, actual dollars amounts for using a character, potentially other deals in the works like, hey Nintendo, maybe don't make your theme park with someone else, maybe make it for Disney. Something like that might be a major obstacle in actually getting a deal between Disney and Nintendo for Sora and Smash. We don't know what happened, but apparently Imran Khan is saying at one time Nintendo did approach Disney and it was shot down on Disney's end. So even if Disney might be cool with them using Sora, what they might want Nintendo to do to use Sora might be more difficult than Nintendo is willing to do. Over on Twitter, at Moldy Clay wrote, as a reminder of the last time Sora was DLC for a game, he was removed from the story entirely after a few months and had no voice. Even Square Enix could not keep Sora in a game. To commemorate the release of Kingdom Hearts 2.8, World of Final Fantasy is adding the familiar face of Sora to the game as free DLC in the form of a summon. He won't be voiced, sadly, but free is free, and you can grab him right now until March 31st. In case you're wondering, based on the wording and what Square Enix has communicated so far, he won't be reverting to a premium purchase after that date. No, he'll be removed from the PlayStation Store entirely. So yeah, while I would also really like to see Sora get into Super Smash Bros., and while I don't think Imran Khan's comments are a total nail in the coffin against the character, I do think Sora is a very difficult character to get into Smash. Sakurai's worked miracles in the past before though, so we'll see what happens here. Now, before I totally get off this topic, think about this. This is just somewhere my mind went when thinking about all this stuff. So imagine we get an E3 where we get Master Chief. We already have Banjo in Smash, so Microsoft is already, talking to Nintendo about Smash. So getting Master Chief is totally plausible. We get Master Chief. Let's say we get one of those Sans Cuphead-style Mii costumes, and we get Steve. So we get Halo and Minecraft in Smash. And then let's say we actually do get Sora. So we get Sora from Square Enix, and then we also get a Geno-style Cuphead Sans Mii costume. Imagine that E3. We would get Master Chief, Steve, Sora, and Geno all in Smash. That would be probably the craziest E3 I can possibly think of. Even as a Geno fan who wants him playable, I do also like Sora. I'm not one of those people who sees rivalries between characters. I like Kingdom Hearts. I like Super Mario RPG. And again, honestly, I would like a Sans style Mii costume for Geno. I would not be mad at that if that was his fate. So I think getting Master Chief, Steve, Sora, and Geno all at E3 is a potential possibility here, and that would just be the craziest Smash reveal I can possibly think of. Okay, and now just a few other interesting things that are going on right now. Over on Twitter, Storm Owl wrote me, Cygames did the remix for the Three Houses theme. Cygames works on Granblue Fantasy, which is a series that Nintendo actually has some stake in and is really big over in Japan. If you remember back to really early post-game Smash speculation, there was a lot of talk about Granblue Fantasy getting a character in Smash, so it would be really interesting if Cygames actually did end up getting a character in Smash for the second Fighters Pass. Another interesting thing that happened is Shantae is getting a Funko Pop figure. This doesn't really have anything to do with Smash Brothers, but I know a lot of people really want Shantae in Smash, so I just thought that was pretty cool. Banjo did start to get a bunch of merchandise before he got into Smash, so hey, maybe this could point to something, who knows? Shinobi602, the person who definitively leaked Banjo about a week before E3 when Banjo was shown off, said this, Activision says they have several remastered and or reimagined titles in development that will be announced later in 2020. So that's pretty cool. Activision has done a lot of this with Crash Bandicoot, so I'd love to see more of that. I can never stray away from Geno speculation, and one of the new Pick of the Days from Sakurai has some possible relevance to the Super Mario RPG series. Over on Twitter, at MitchTwitterKD wrote, Iron being casted in lava/fire, and you know who does that? A Smith. And then a picture of Smithy, the main boss from Super Mario RPG. It's kind of a stretch, but again, I'm a big fan of Geno speculation. Another recent pick of the day was this one that has a striking resemblance to those Gigantamax raid battles that happen in Pokemon Sword and Shield, so possibly some reference to potentially getting a Gen 8 rep in Smash. Who knows? And then when might we get some more information from Nintendo about any of this stuff? Well, there's some things going around potentially pointing at some new directs happening in the near future. Zippo from Reset Era wrote, "Alright then, might as well let it out. There's 2 directs this month. You've already guessed what they obviously are. Not sure of the timing, but that February 20th stuff lines up for Animal Crossing. Please don't flood me." Sabi also recently wrote, "To please those who don't like my recent teases, yes, there is a Nindies presentation in mid-March." Okay, so Zippo is saying there'll be 2 directs this month, one of them probably being a Nintendo General Direct, and the other one being a Animal Crossing Focus Direct. And then Sabi is saying that in March we'll get a Nindies Direct. Now, I had personally heard from someone that this week we will probably get that Nintendo General Direct. It's not a sure thing, it's just a rumor, but that's what I heard. There's also some people talking about specific dates for this, so let's talk about that. Mandy Can, the person over on Twitter who might have leaked Byleth as the 5th fighter for Smash and also says that Crash is happening next, has a cryptic message that could point to a date. Mandy Can wrote, "New York City call," and then later wrote, "This feels like a very direct hint that no one seems to understand yet. Haha." At Alola Vivillion wrote, "New York City call. New York's area code is 212. Are you referring possibly that a direct is 212, meaning it's next week on Wednesday?" That seems like the best guess I've seen so far for this one, so possibly a direct this Wednesday, or maybe a direct announced this Wednesday. Over on Twitter, at WillYork23 wrote, "I have an interesting speculation that the next Nintendo Direct will happen next Thursday the 13th for one particular reason. Devil May Cry 3 on Nintendo Switch. Remember over a month ago when one of the developers for Devil May Cry revealed in a video about 3 dates to keep an eye about Devil May Cry 3 news? Those dates were January 16th and 30th, as well as February 13th. With us being in February now, I'd speculate that a Nintendo Direct would be the best opportunity as well as the final push for people to go and buy the game with its release on the 25th. What do you think?" And if you go and look, yeah, those are the 3 dates that the Devil May Cry Twitter said to pay attention to. January 16th, January 30th, and February 13th. Now, I don't personally know for certain that a Nintendo Direct will happen this week, but I do think it is very likely, and either the 12th or the 13th seems like good guesses anyway, so yeah, let's hope we actually get that. If you guys have any thoughts or comments about any of the stuff I talked about in this video, please leave them below. So once again, thank you guys for all the subscribes, all the likes. It really helps out the channel. So if you haven't subscribed yet, go ahead and do so, or like the video, or leave a comment, whatever you want. Until next time, have a good one.